see if we can keep it within 15 minutes.
All right.
Figured you'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
I think we are going live. Let me double check. Yes, we are live. Welcome back to Motivation Monday or Monday Motivations. I am Melissa Katie with the Change Position podcast with my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro. And I'm looking very casual because I had a little workout right before our Monday motivation. So I motivated myself, Kevin, right beforehand. So I
That
got
is
some,
good.
yeah, it's good. Um, I guess the question is, you want to remind the audience what Monday Motivations is?
Sure. Monday motivation is sort of our weekly little check-in here. We're going to talk about what is important for the incoming week, what we're motivated to do a little bit of review of what's happened on the podcast, but really is just kind of reassess where we are and that we're doing the things that we are intentionally wanting to do. So that's what a wonderful Monday motivation. Plus, it just rhymes, right? So you have to do something that rhymes, and Monday motivation sounds really good.
Yeah, it does. And I'm trying to recall what our motivations were for this past week. What did we say we were going to do?
I don't remember what yours were. I know mine was because I was presenting, so I was trying to get my talks done.
Yeah.
Since I was presenting at the end of the week, and one of them I did not have done still last Monday, and I did finish it on Saturday about an hour before the talk was done. So yeah, I got it done.
Very nice. Well, I'm trying to recall what maybe I had said. I know the week before I'd gotten some emails out, and it was some takeaways from the Oregon Pain Summit, which was spectacular. You were amazing. You had such a great introduction to pain, and it was really cool how you were at the final or the finale of the summit too, where you kind of bring it back around full circle. And I think some of the messages I actually have it written down on a book on the inside. But just this whole idea that pain is about protection. We know that pain is pain, regardless of how you want to define it or describe these fancy little terms, and that it has the potential to change. And to always believe your friends, your family, or your patients that if they are in pain, they're likely not wasting their time just making that up. Most people are legitimately in pain. So I thought it was really cool. We had Laura Mosley from Australia that was a really featured speaker, and his presentation. Did you want to make any like strong take-home points that I can discuss? But was there any things you thought
You
cool?
can never go wrong listening to Lorimer. I mean, that's essentially what it comes down to. It was really good. And what I really love about him is because he's like the quintessential scientist. And so he really is talking research and really focused on research, but he presents it in such a easy to digest way and in a fun way to do it. Like he always incorporates story. And if you hear him talk, he always talks about, I'm from a lineage of storytellers, and he definitely is. He's super good. So it was great. And really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was cool. It's something I thought about, especially with the way America's been this last year. And for those of you listening, maybe on the Challenge Doctor, I'm cross-posting this from the Change Position. I think it was really interesting how, especially in Australia and New Zealand, they're really good about honoring the land and who came before them, and there was a couple of the speakers that did that, even from America. And I don't think it was a Canadian, but some Americans that actually did that and honored the people that unfortunately many times are not treated well when, other people that we are descended from maybe didn't treat them well, but just to honor them, recognize and admit to the history, and not put it under the rug. And I think that, what else can you do? The past is the past, and at least honor the people that came before us. So I thought that was kind of probably something you didn't expect me to say about the summit, but I thought it was, it's refreshing that people take the time to just spend a minute to honor the people before them. So
Yeah, I don't remember the second one was. The other one I know Missy Cheney did, who's a medical anthropologist at Oregon State and who
I
had
think
had an
Kelly
amazing
Prosko
presentation.
did.
Oh, okay. I wasn't there. I was still
Yeah,
working on my
you're in and out.
talk.
You were working hard regardless.
Yeah, it was interesting because this was, the problem. Well, I shouldn't say the problem. What's difficult about this particular summit, though, or I should challenging about this particular summit, and especially with this year, we had such a diverse range of audiences. Is how do you create a presentation that talks to everybody? And I am a firm believer that the foundations are the foundations, and you can't go over them enough. But I also know that we had this diverse range, and so how do you then bookend it? And that was the organizers who were amazing. Like that was just, I don't know how that ended up, but I was the first talk and I was the last talk, so I was in this bookend, and I had felt like I had a responsibility there. Is then how do you bring it to a close again so it's relevant to all the attendees? But man, yeah, it was an interesting, yeah. So anyway, because of that, I was in and out on Saturday quite a bit. Got most of them, but not all of them.
And the last thing I'll say is that just to weave in a little bit of commentary from people who have the lived experience of pain and are very well, very knowledgeable about the science of pain. And so it didn't contradict anything. I felt like it tied in well with the messages and the lessons you gave as well. So I thought that was a plus. So.
And that was the goal, right? That was, we want to make sure. And one of the things, I'm obviously biased about the Oregon Pain Summit, but I actively make sure I am not involved within the organization of it to try to combat that bias as much as possible. But from the beginning, the idea is you need to have common language, and you have to make sure that people are understanding these foundational concepts so that you don't go to a typical conference, typical pain conference, and you have one person talking about something, and then you have the next presenter come up and completely, it's like there was no communication, and they'll be talking about stuff that's like 50 years outdated, old garbage science after like a really good pain talk. Yeah. So that creates all this confusion, and we don't need any more of that when it comes to pain. We need a little bit more consistency and certainly a greater degree of congruency. And that, I don't know, the Oregon Pain Summit is, again, I'm totally biased about it. It's freaking awesome. It's like awesome.
Yeah, well, it's true. Like you said, words matter. You want a consistent message. It reminds me of even Amanda Gorman, who was the poet that was.
Yeah, that was really good.
So eloquent, so well spoken, and she, in an interview, even said, when I reflect on things that have gone on, I don't see visual images. It's about the words, because the words matter. And I thought that was apropos even for this pain summit and the conference, when you're trying to shift people's and reframe their thinking on what they think something is, and you're trying to reframe in a different way for them. So
yeah. No.
Well, you want to give an update, or you want me to give an update on our podcast that we've had and coming up?
Well, I will be happy to do that because they're just episodes with us. They're fantastic episodes, stellar episodes between me and Dr. Katie here. Really continuing the theme that has been January of 2020 on kind of change and health and all that stuff. So we talked about real life fitness, which was I thought was pretty good, because we're basically talking about how to incorporate this stuff without all the craziness. You don't need 65,000 different things. You don't necessarily need the Peloton bike. You can really incorporate some healthy fitness habits in a way that is aligned with your behavior and your lifestyle to maintain your health. So that was a really good one. And then we also talked about mindset, which I know we've talked with one of our guests about in the past, I think, but it always comes back to again, these foundational things, and mindset is a big one. What is mindset is really the kind of almost the lens that you see in the world through. Are you seeing it as this horrible, threatening place where everything's framed in losses, where it's all their win lose, and if something doesn't go wrong, it's obviously a catastrophic failure? So you're trying to stay safe all the time and not learn or grow. Or are you seeing it through a fixed mindset lens, where you're recognizing that the only true learning that comes through growth, and that growth is going to come most oftenly from episodes of failing. And then I don't know if we talked on the neuroscience about that, but I think that's another good one too, because if you are not getting the results you want, or if you're particularly frustrated, you're burned out, and you're a physician, one of the first things I would definitely look at is, rather than the external circumstances, is look at the internal kind of perceptions that you have. Because when more you understand those, the more you'll recognize a lot of them are self-imposed. And once you kind of break through those, the external stuff can start changing as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think several of our guests allude to this, and a lot of the changes when it comes to like people that need coaching. There's a lot of mindset involved there, so that kind of puts us into the following week that's coming up with Dr. Maisha Claiborne, who's an integrative family physician, and she does all kinds of other fancy things with that, as far as NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, or hypnosis. And she is a twofer. We have her initial story, and then we have the second one, which is what is NLP or coaching. So she dives a little deeper in that episode. So definitely look out for the next two episodes coming up in the next week. Any other comments on that?
No, other than, and we started it, I think, in last month, but we're really trying to do these 2-episode format. So hopefully for the future, guys, what you're going to see is most commonly, rather than the exception, is a guest coming on telling their story, kind of their story of transformation, and the subsequent episode going deeper on a specific topic that is relevant. And I've really enjoyed that, I think, as a podcast host, because it allows us to have these deeper conversations. We're meeting amazing people. The people that we are interviewing are it's just a fantastic community. And these second and sometimes third or more conversations, it's like, then you have your friends in, like, there's the icebreaker conversation, and we talk about that. But I really love the seconds and thirds. It's just like, you become almost your physician family. So that's fun. And we got a lot more of those coming up. So
yeah. Speaking of family or community, if you haven't, checked out thechangedphysician.com, there's a sign up where you can be part of this community and get occasional updates and be privy to what's coming in the community and the podcast and any other special events that we might throw out there. I guess, what's your motivation for this coming up week?
The motivation for this week is really for the year, but I started a new workout, talking about real life fitness. I'm on the end of it because I think I've talked about that, how I block things up. And so I'm coming up to my second 6-week kind of block here, 5-week block. And really, I decided my goal for this year is just to get strong, like to get functionally strong. So I'm falling into the whole kettlebell club. I had a couple kettlebells before, but I've been really enjoying it. It's just a really simple workout. If people are, the super kettlebell people who probably, I never knew this guy until I read about him online, Pavel something, some Russian dude brought him over. He's got the accent. Yeah, comrade. But man, the stuff is good. And it just fits in really closely because I love simple stuff. Yeah. So my focus this week is just to get stronger and incorporate some of these exercises. I went a little tough last week, and my brain was like freaking out today, going, I don't know. It was a little worried about today's workout, but my goal is to just get stronger, make my brain feel safer. Yeah. So that's my motivation. That motivation is just to do those workouts.
Well, I think mine's going to overlap with yours in a fitness standpoint. I've had a habit of kind of coming home from work or waiting a little workout, and I thrive and love. I like to be strong and leaner. So instead of me relaxing when I get home, which makes me kind of lose my oomph, even though I may not feel like it, I'm gonna allow myself like a 10 to 20 minute window and then make myself immediately go do my workout. So that's, I want to start that consistency this week. So hopefully that'll, once you kind of get that habit, it's a lot easier to maintain. So, kind of wiring, this kind of ties into the whole thing we were learning this past weekend in that conference, just the way that you're wired. I won't go through all the details of the words for that, but the way you get wired in your brain, if you start linking it to other things and it becomes kind of this like knee-jerk thing, you don't even really think about it, you just start doing it. There's a lot more success in that and then trying to get over the hump and the resistance of changing your entire wiring. So I think that's one of my big ones. Of course, I gotta work on my taxes, but that's not fun for anyone.
Oh, you mentioned that. Oh,
just take care of it.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
there's so
excited. I
much
got
about it.
my board certification was coming up, and I was concerned I needed like some degree of credits, but it ends up because of my window, I just submitted all that stuff and I'm done.
Oh,
So I don't have
good.
to worry about that anymore for the next 2 years, which is good. I
Yeah.
mean, that's actually I'm board certified through the National Board of Physicians and Surgeons. I don't think we've talked about them before.
No, we should have a chat about
We
that.
we should actually, we should get some of the organizers of that, because I'm pretty passionate about that organization and what they're doing, particularly from a physician standpoint, from a certification standpoint. It makes a lot of sense. So it's created by physicians for physicians. You know, it's obviously doesn't, it's not slouchy like some made up board certification, but it is definitely a way to get away from some of these monstrosities that have really just abused the whole board certification, maintenance of certification thing and their money making schemes. So we should do an episode on that in the future.
Yeah, we need to put that in our
Our
queue.
notes, our queue. Yeah.
We've got some cues. Well, I guess that we'll make this a short one today, and we'll head into the see how we do with our fitness focus this next week. And you know, want to take us out?
Sure. All right, folks, this is the Change Physician Podcast with your host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro, and my wonderful co-host, Dr. Melissa Cady. Thank you for joining us today on Monday Motivations. I hope you are motivated to have the best week possible. And please join us at thechangephysician.com if you're interested in joining our community. And until next Monday, stay well.